Good evening, Tallahassee. We certainly had a chilly day here at 4 FSU Weather.
Oh my goodness, it was crazy chilly. I had to pull out the winter jacket, the scarf, the gloves. Seriously, with the wind blowing around campus, I really needed all that stuff, and this is Florida.
Oh yes, same for me too. And the thing is, those temperatures are not going to be changing. Actually, our record high our high for today was 51, and it's normally 72. So we're sitting a good amount below our average for this time of the year.
20 degrees below average. In fact, that is something crazy. Good evening, everyone. I'm student meteorologist Shane Pendleton.
I'm student meteorologist Melanie Steinberg.
And have we got a cold show in store for you tonight? At least we don't find it particularly chilly here in the studio, but all the numbers we've got to show you tonight are brisk.
Yes, if you are going out and about tonight, make sure you have those jackets and make sure you are dressed for the cold because it is going to be very, very chilly outside tonight.
Yes, but before we get to all the numbers, let's talk about that military appreciation game.
Yeah, our football game is this Saturday, the November 22nd, against Boston College at 3:30, and it is our military appreciation game, so make sure to get out to the game and support the military.
Indeed, it includes a special salute to all the veterans and special on-the-field recognition of FSU veterans.
Yeah, and there is supposed to be a chance of rain, but thankfully that's for the PM hours, not for during the game, so the game should be looking quite clear.
Oh yeah, it's going to be excellent. I look forward to another FSU victory, but in the meantime, Lauren has got the overview.
Thanks, Shane and Melanie. Well, it's definitely a bit chilly outside right now. Currently, we're looking at 47 degrees with partly cloudy skies. It is rather dry. Our dew point is only at 13 degrees right now. But if you take a look at the wind, we're at 14 miles per hour. So it is going to feel a little bit colder than it actually is once we consider the wind chill. Now, if we zoom out and we look at the satellite and radar, we can see that there's not a whole lot going on in the southeast now that we had that cold front push off the coast. We do have some showers up to the north, a lot of lake effect snow, which we will talk about a little bit later. But here in Tallahassee, we have some weather headlines. The cold is going to continue on for a few more days, but eventually temperatures will start to warm and we could see a chance of rain this weekend. Tonight, you are going to need a jacket if you're planning on going outside. It's going to be rather cold at 20 degrees. But let's send it back to the desk with Shane and Melanie.
Thanks, Lauren. Now, before we get to all the cold temperatures for the rest of the show, let's talk about why they're here. We got lots of severe weather across the region yesterday.
Yeah, and that was just thanks to the cold front that pushed through, and it's really bringing us that northern Arctic air.
Indeed, and it brought us some wild weather too. Yesterday, we were reading a report in the Tallahassee Democrat earlier today about a tornado that didn't just touch down, it struck a correctional facility.
Where did that happen exactly?
It happened a few miles west of here in Calhoun County early Monday morning near the town of Blountstown.
Were any people injured in this?
There were 2 officers injured, unfortunately, and many cars were tossed about. We saw several photos of that trending on social media. This all happened around 4 a.m. yesterday morning.
Yeah, thankfully none of those tornadoes reached our area. I knew we were under a warning, but thankfully nothing happened to us.
Yeah, the tornado watch persisted for several hours, but none of the tornado warnings came into Leon County. And yes.
And now we're going to take it more to a local look with John.
Yeah,
Sorry.
a minute to look at these temperatures. This is the first taste of real winter here. We made it down to 35 degrees this morning at 7 o'clock. Down at the airport, 33 degrees here on campus, and we climbed up to 51 degrees this afternoon here in Tallahassee. But the temperatures have started to tumble, and they're really going to start to tumble when the sun goes down in a little while. 44 degrees here right now in Tallahassee with partly cloudy skies. These clouds are going to be leaving our area, and the humidity is going to be leaving as well, and that's going to allow us to drop down into the low 20s tomorrow morning. Around the area, you can already start to see some of those 40s working in, even 39 degrees in Quincy. Right now, a little bit warmer down towards the coast where the water is a little bit warmer still. Temperatures there in the upper 40s, but the wind is howling out of the north 6 miles an hour here in Tallahassee. This is reinforcing that cooler air from the north, kind of straight off of an iceberg, so to speak, from the north. And that's driving down the wind chills. These are the feels-like temperatures. It's feeling like 35 degrees right now in Quincy, 42 degrees in Apalachicola, 42 as well in Quincy. These feels-like temperatures could feel like the upper teens as we head towards tomorrow morning. As I mentioned, these clouds are finally leaving the area. Just a couple of low-level clouds here in the Big Bend That front is pushed off towards the south, no rain chance for the next couple of days, but that's going to allow high pressure to build in, and that's going to allow the temperatures to fall during the overnight hours as well. And this is the mechanism that is going to allow us to dry off and cool off tomorrow morning as well. It's called radiational cooling. And what is needed for this cooling is clear skies, calm winds, and a dry atmosphere. And that's what we've got as we head into the early morning hours tomorrow. We're going to see winds come down quite a bit, maybe a mile or two an hour. That's going to be enough to drop us down into the low 20s in the inland locations, maybe upper teens in southern Georgia, and especially up into Alabama. And then we head closer to the beaches, and we're talking mid-20s. Still a hard freeze, though. Temperature is going to be below freezing for many locations for more than 10 hours, and these long nights aren't helping it out at all. Heading through the next couple of days, we've got get used to this blue on this map because that is a hard freeze warning. What that means is temperatures are going to be below freezing for 10 to 14 hours, below actually 25 degrees for quite a while during the morning hours, both tomorrow morning and on Thursday morning. This is going to be sticking with us for the next couple of days. That's going to kill off any crops that are still outside. So bring in the pets, bring in the plants, because it's going to be a hard couple of nights. We're going to start off at 8 o'clock, right around freezing, and then we're going to drop on Wednesday morning down to 20 degrees. And then we're going to boost right back up during the afternoon hours tomorrow, 51, and then heading towards Thursday morning, we're looking just as cold. And then heading through the southeast, we're looking at temperatures in the 40s right now. Lauren?
All right, yeah, so let's look at the current temperatures in the southeast right now. Tallahassee, we're at 44. Fortunately, we're a little bit warmer than those to the north of us. Atlanta, you're at 32. But check out Miami and Key West down to the south. They're in the 60s. I'm a little bit jealous because it's definitely a bit cold out there for us right now. Our dew points, we are very dry, and that's really the big story. Tallahassee, our dew point is 17, and really all over the southeast, we have these very low dew point temperatures. So really a lot of dry air taking over now that that cold front has moved through. Now I love this graphic. It's very colorful, a lot of fun. This shows our 24-hour temperature change, which I'm sure everyone noticed just how cold it has gotten over the past few hours. Tallahassee, we've had a change of 12 degrees, definitely getting cold. Miami, check that out, minus 20, definitely cooling down quite a bit there. Pretty much all over the southeast, we've been seeing a huge cool down. Savannah at 27, really a big change there. Now take a look at our satellite and radar. Really, we see the cold front has pushed off the coast here, so it's dying down, getting out of our way. We have a few lingering showers down towards Miami, but now that that is gone, we really don't have a whole lot to talk about except the cooler temperatures. Our water vapor, again, is just showing that front moving off the coast, and that is represented by the green colors here on the map. And you can see behind me, we do have the orange, which is showing the drier air moving in now that the front has moved on. Tonight, it is going to be a chilly night like we've been talking about. Tallahassee, 18 degrees, definitely going to be chilly. You're going to want a jacket if you're heading outside. Really, it's going to be cold all over the southeast. Atlanta, not much better at 22. But then again, there's Miami, definitely sitting a bit warmer, making us all a little bit jealous. But it is going to be cold out there tonight, so keep that in mind. Now for tomorrow, unfortunately, it's not going to warm up a whole lot. Tallahassee, we're going to be at 57. A little bit better, but still going to be on the cool side, so take a jacket out there with you. Really, we're going to be in the 50s across the board here in the southeast, a little bit warmer down to our south. Now, glimpse ahead, really we're going to stay cold, but the temperatures are going to warm in a few days, and we could see some rain moving on this weekend. Right now, we're sitting at 44 with slight chance of rain and a little bit of wind coming out from the north at 6 miles per hour. Now we're heading back to the desk with Shane and Melanie.
Thanks, Lauren. Thank you for that last look at what's going on around here. And we've got a few tips for everyone about the cold, how to protect themselves from it.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing relatively cold temperatures, and I know I'm from South Florida, so I'm not used to these cold temperatures, and I know most people here may not be used to those cold temperatures. So some of the tips are you can stay indoors and make sure you're keeping warm. Turn on your heaters, get some candles, just keep warm.
Indeed, if you are using a space heater or candles or flammable heat sources, keep them away from pets and children. Bring your pets inside, by the way, and drapes, anything else that's flammable.
Yeah, also make sure you wear layers, lots of layers, loose-fitting
Exactly.
layers, keeping it warm. And it may be cold here, but it is also cold around the rest of the nation. But now, Shane, you're going to take us out to the nationwide view. Tell us all about that cold.
Well, the cold appears to be on this map, in fact, big east, but that's not really the case. Check out these temperature changes. This is what's been going on over the last 24 hours. We've got there in Boston, 15 degrees cooler than it was. It's quite chilly across the whole country right now. In fact, see, this is what I meant when I was saying it's technically warmer to our west than it was yesterday, but it's still quite chilly all the same. These 50s are making their way up under this ridge into the center of the U.S. under the plains, but it's still cool there all the same. So here's a look at the moisture across the country. We've got all these shades of green from the Dakotas through Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan. That's not rain, that's snow, and I'm going to show you some of that in just a minute. We've also got all this green moving off the coast. This is that front that brought us all those wacky weather stories yesterday. And here in the Big Bend region, it's pretty clear, shades of brown and orange on the map there. That's the dry air. And if you pay close attention to the dew point temperatures later in the show, you can see exactly how dry it is. Satellite radar tells us the same story, but with clouds and precipitation. There's those splotches of blue across the northern U.S., primarily clear across the whole south. Let's take a closer look. Here we've got over the Great Lakes what's called lake effect snow. It's when wind blows across generally from the west to the east over the lake, and the water is warm, and that fuels these cold air currents with moisture that moves across the lake and snows out on the eastern side of the lake. That's why it's only on that side of the lake as opposed to over Chicago. And again, the southeast is pretty clear, just some passing high clouds over the southeast today. A pretty nice day overall. We've got a lot of warnings, and we're going to focus in on a few more of those later in the show, but cold weather to boot across the whole region. Let's take a look at the exact numbers. From 12 degrees in Minneapolis, 26 in Kansas City, 16 in Billings, and 25 in Denver. We think of Denver as being especially cold because it's up there in the mountains, but take a look at one city in particular that we all know and love, which is even colder, and that's Tallahassee. We're going to be ringing in at 20 degrees tonight, maybe even pushing into the upper teens. And tomorrow we're not going to climb that far out of the cold. Minneapolis only at 20 degrees, Billings at 35, Denver coming in at 51 degrees, just a little bit warmer here. 55 here in Tallahassee. And now we're going to hand it off to Melanie for a look around the local.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, everywhere around the country is quite chilly, and we're going to be seeing those temperatures continue for the rest of the week. But now taking a look at Doak, we got those clear sunny skies thanks to that cold front that passed, so it's leaving us with clear and sunny conditions, and it's leaving us with extremely cold temperatures. Right now we're sitting at 44 in Tallahassee, it's 39 in Quincy, 48 in Wilma, so we're seeing the high 30s and low 40s, and our temperatures are going to be dropping as we get into the night. And now our winds are currently at a northerly 6, so we're getting those northern air, that Arctic air is really funneling into our area, and it's going to be feeling a little bit chillier than the actual temperature just because of that air. But now our satellite and radar, really there's nothing really to talk about. We have those clear skies, maybe a few high passing clouds as we reach into our nighttime area, and it's the same area for most of the southeast. Down here there's that cold front that passed through our area yesterday, and it is really just dissipating away. Not much to talk about here, just those clear sunny skies, the cold conditions, and we're left off with drier air. All this brown and orangish color that is reaching our area is just a drier air. That's why our dew point is so low, because we're seeing just dry air. And all this moist air from that cold front is just pushing off the coast, and it's leaving us with very not humid, just great conditions. If you like the cold, that is, then it's great for that. Tonight we're sitting though at 20 in Tallahassee, 20 in Quincy, a little bit warmer to the coast, 26 in Carabel. It's going to be another cold night. So if you are going outside and if you do have those plans, just be aware of the cold. And as those cold tips me and Shane mentioned earlier, have those layers, because you need to protect yourself against the cold, because it is dangerous to be outside in the cold. So just make sure you have those layers that are loose fitting, easily accessible, easy to take off, just so if you're inside and it's warm, you can be ready for that. Tomorrow we're going to be seeing another chilly day, 55 in Tallahassee, 54 in Quincy, 52 down in Carabel. Those sunny skies are going to be continuing throughout the rest of the week. And those cool temperatures are going to as well. For our weather for tonight and basically Wednesday morning, Wednesday night, it's going to be cold. It's going to be frigid. We're going to be seeing that cold air. So have the pants, the boots, the sweatshirts, those layers. And for the rest of the week, we're seeing those cool and sunny conditions prevail all the way up until Saturday, where that chance of rain does kick back in. Now the chance of rain for the weekend is going to be another cold front passing through, and again for Saturday, for the football game, these showers are going to most likely happen to the evening hours, but we're going to be seeing those cooler temperatures again, 20 tonight, 24 Thursday morning. So it's going to be quite chilly, very unseasonable for this time of the year, very cold, so get ready for that. But now it's time for more stories with Lauren and John.
You mentioned those layers. It's going to get cold tonight, closer to 20 degrees than it will be freezing, and that's the case across much of the country.
Yeah, it is. I actually saw a story today that I thought was super interesting. All 50 states reported freezes today, including the state of Hawaii. The Big Island actually reported a temperature down to 31 degrees, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and there are hard freeze warnings in effect here for the Big Bend area for temperatures, again, closer to 20, but it's even colder up north.
It is. It's a lot colder up north. We think it's cold here in Tallahassee. I saw some people definitely bringing out their thick jackets, but just imagine what they're dealing with up in Buffalo, where they're getting so much snow, and all throughout New York I know is really cold.
So the warm spot right now, actually California. If you really looking for somewhere warm, even in Northern California they're seeing freezing temperatures, but if you head to Southern California, 60s and 70s down there.
That's not too bad. I feel like Miami's probably pretty nice too right now.
Got a little clouds to work with, but now we're going to take it back out to Melanie with a look at those clouds in South Florida.
Thank you, John. Yeah, the clouds are really just hovering over South Florida right now, and that's keeping their temperatures relatively cool. As you mentioned before, Miami is sitting in the 60s. They're at 62. Fort Myers is at 51, and as we move up the state, we continually get colder, and those cold temperatures are just going to be staying in our area. Our dew point, we're sitting at 17 in Tallahassee. There's a lot of dry air throughout our region, so it's a perfect hair day for us girls out there. Our hair is going to be looking good in these dry, cool conditions. Satellite and radar, there's not much to talk about. There's just a few scattered clouds to our northern counties, but those quickly dissipated, and those are that high cirrus clouds. And now looking to our south, all that cloud cover from the cold front is just really hovering over south parts of Florida, Coral Springs, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. But as that cold front continues to move south, it is going to dissipate and leave South Florida with much sunnier skies. And again, the green is just a water vapor, and that's from the cold front that passed our area. And up in our area, up in Tallahassee, we see that orange color, and that just signifies the drier air that is taking advantage of our region. Now there's some watches and warnings. We are currently under a hard freeze warning, so there's going to be the chance for some freezing, so just be careful for that. And then planning your day, by tomorrow morning, it's going to be a cold morning. We're going to be sitting at 25 degrees. So on your way to work or to classes, have those layers. Have a bunch of layers. You may not want to shed a lot of those layers because we're only going to be reaching 50 degrees by noon. So it's a slight warm up compared to our morning temperatures, but that's still quite chilly. So the layers will definitely be needed. And tomorrow night, it's going to be another chilly night. By 8 p.m., we will be reaching 25 degrees. And those clouds are going to be out of our area for good. Tonight, though, we're going to be sitting at 20 in Tallahassee, 45 in Fort Myers, 61 down in Miami. So the winter is here, folks. The winter is going to be here to stay. today, at least until Saturday. But tomorrow we're going to be sitting at 55 in Tallahassee, 62 in Tampa, 73 in Miami. They actually have a chance for a little bit of rain. Those clouds are going to be hovering over. So thankfully we are not in South Florida. We are just in the sunny parts of North Florida, and the cold is here. So if you like that cold, get out and enjoy the cold. And now we're going to take a look at our winter weather with John.
Yeah, and we're going to take a trip to the north. If you do like that cooler air, head towards the Great Lakes. We're talking about Lake Ontario and Lake Erie here. Ontario is here, Lake Erie is here, and the city of Buffalo is right in here in this white area here. And we all know Buffalo is going to get a lot of snow during the normal winter. Well, they kicked off that winter weather season early this afternoon. Some of the locations there have been receiving snow for 12, 14, even 18 hours, and that's really racked up. And I want to start with the sea surface temperatures because this is where it all starts. We're talking sea surface temperatures, which would be cool compared to us here in Tallahassee, but up there quite warm, 46 degrees just off the coast of Buffalo. Ontario, much the same in the 30s and 40s, but that's enough to create a little bit of warmth, a little bit of lift. And created with these temperatures near the land in the 20s, that's the difference, and that creates a wind. And that wind is coming out of the south and west off of Lake Erie, and that puts Buffalo, Niagara Falls, also Watertown, New York, in the bullseye for a lot of snow because that wind travels over those warm lakes and creates a lot of moisture and a lot of lift, and that creates some small bands, but very powerful bands of lake effect snow, and we call it the lake effect snow machine because these things are powerful. The Buffalo office of the National Weather Service issued a statement earlier saying upwards of 6 feet of snow are possible. And this is actually a webcam from near Buffalo. This is a street sign here. This is an interstate sign. It's normally green, but you can't see that today. These things are, 20, 30 feet tall? Half of it is missing. Half of this sign is missing. You can't even see the street that goes underneath it here. Some tractor trailers back behind it. You can't even tell those are tractor trailers. That's because of very low visibility blizzard conditions there with those strong winds, some cases 15 to 20 miles an hour. But that's enough. Buffalo receiving right about on the edge of that area. Niagara Falls seeing clear conditions, often sunny conditions up in Niagara Falls, southern Lake Ontario. But down towards the south, we're talking, again, upwards of 6 feet of snow down towards the south. They've already seen 4 feet of snow, and this is going to continue during the overnight hours for the cities just south of Buffalo, and these are going to continue to rack up. These don't move a whole lot, but the forecast is that this snow band will be moving down towards the south as the winds shift out towards the west. Heading up towards the north, Watertown, the second bullseye here across the Great Lakes, not seeing as much snow, but they are seeing quite a bit of snow as the same mechanism that those long winds coming off the lakes here from west to east, piling up snow in Watertown and points off towards the east. North and south, you've got partly cloudy skies and slightly warmer conditions and a little bit less wind. Lake effect snow warnings in effect. Really don't need to explain that one. A lot of snow is coming off these lakes. This purple is a gale warning. That's winds of upwards of 40 miles per hour for the lakes on the United States side and heading off towards much of the Great Lakes. Same effect up towards the Watertown and Messina area. You're seeing lake effect snow, and that's in effect across much of the Great Lakes. You can see high pressure off towards the north, and those winds are creating snow bands from northwest to southeast across these lakes, creating a lot of snowy conditions. And that's really the main story. Snow just starting to work into the Dakotas now, but we want to head back towards the Great Lakes now, and we're going to talk about snowy conditions. This is a big news story here. We're talking 6 feet of snow, and I know that's taller than I am and certainly taller than you are.
I know, it's crazy to think that 6 feet of snow could just bury me. I'm 5'6". It's amazing.
And Buffalo's not a small city. It's a pretty big city with a lot of people. It's a commuting city. Not today.
I know, I've seen a lot of videos on social media of the snow just coming into the city, and it's just absolutely incredible to see it.
Yeah. And the winds are a big story as well. In fact, all 4 New York airports right now are actually closed due to wind.
Really?
Yeah.
That is crazy to think about. That's such a huge area for, I know, air traffic and whatnot.
Yeah, and the sad thing is it's not that cool. It's in the 20s and 30s, which they're kind of normal. They're kind of used to that sort of thing in western New York, but the wind is really picking up a lot of snowfall and dumping it. Shovel's not going to do the trick.
No, it is not, I am afraid.
But for now, Shane, we've got a better look at the local area.
Thank you, guys. Well, it's 44 degrees right now in Tallahassee, and if I may say so, brr. It's got a dew point of 17 degrees outside right now, which really goes to show how incredibly dry it is outside. So right when we were getting comfortable with the fact that it's not so humid anymore, and me personally, it got so dry out that we really need to get out the chapstick of all things. 44 degrees again in the capital, and cooler still to our northwest especially. 39 degrees in Quincy, 43 there in Bainbridge, 40 in Mariana, just a little bit cooler at the coast, 51 in St. Mark's, 47 over there at Apalachicola National Forest. Generally being on the coast, the heat of the water keeps them a little bit warmer than inland, and that's especially evident in the wind chill. We know the story. This is what it feels like outside because the wind is blowing against us. 41 degrees in Tallahassee, 39 it feels like in Bainbridge, and feels like 34 degrees in Mariana. Not even dinner time yet, and they're already getting close to freezing. So this is not to be taken lightly. There are advisories out there that I'm going to come to in a minute. Another look at the water vapor map shows that dry air over us. The main story to take away from this is those really low dew points, and the fact that there's no green around means it won't be raining, and thank goodness not snowing around here. I think we'd have lost the whole half of the U.S. by now if it was snowing down here. Anyway, in Tallahassee, we've got lots of warnings on here, and there are actually so many of them pertaining to winter weather, which we're not used to, that I wrote a few of them down so I could explain to you what they mean. We've got wind chill advisories in the Orlando area. That means that the wind chill is so low that it's a threat to human health. These darker shades of blue around Tampa and up towards Jacksonville are freeze warnings, meaning it's going to be freezing below 32 degrees outside. And here in Tallahassee, we've got these pinks. Also over there near Panama City Beach, that's a red flag warning. That means the dew point is so low that it's dangerous to light fires outside, so be careful if you enjoy camping in very cold weather. Hard freeze warning for Tallahassee tonight. This means that the temperature is going to be below 25 degrees for 4 or more hours. So that really goes to show how very dangerous it is outside. In fact, on the matter of what to wear tomorrow, I'm going to grab my jacket right now because we're definitely going to need it. Sweatshirts overnight, boots, pants, everything you need tomorrow for the cold weather. It's not just going to be cold, we're saying it's going to be frigid outside, and we mean it. So finishing off the show tonight, 20 degrees overnight in Tallahassee is what we're calling for. Similarly in Quincy and Monticello. So it's going to have a wind, not too bad actually, lower than 5 miles per hour, which we can all be very thankful for. It would feel unbelievably cold outside. So here's a quick breakdown of your Wednesday. Getting up around 8 a.m., it will have already warmed up to a very chilly 25 degrees. We're going to climb up to around 50 degrees by lunchtime, cooling right back off into the 20s by the end of the night. Here's a quick look at the 7 days we've got lined up for you. Brisk tomorrow, brisk Thursday. Still pretty chilly on Friday, climbing up finally into the 70s again for the weekend for our game against Boston College. And now let's throw it back to John and Lauren to wrap up tonight.
If you got an 8 a.m. class tomorrow morning, we're going to be talking lower 20s for actual temperatures, but actually upper teens for feels like temperatures. So it's actually going to feel like the upper teens.
Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that has an 8 a.m. class tomorrow, so I will be bundled up.
I'm not jealous at all. And I'm not jealous if you have plants either. If you are a farmer, those plants are not going to survive the night if you don't bring them inside.
Yeah, make sure you bring your pets inside as well because it is going to be very cold tonight here in Tallahassee.
And tomorrow morning isn't going to be the only morning. Look at Thursday morning there, 24 degrees. It's going to be another cold morning on Wednesday morning, finally warming up as we head to Friday.
Thank goodness. I am looking forward to that. And it is going to be warmer on Saturday for the football game, which will definitely be nice.
A couple of clouds will be spilling into the area on Saturday, but I think we're going to be good for at least the first half of the game. But if you're heading out to Doak Campbell Stadium, maybe the frozen fountains tomorrow morning, take those pictures, send them to us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find us anywhere. Just search FSU Weather. And if you want to catch the forecast again, catch us again at 11:30 tonight. We'll be talking weather all night long. But for now, I'm meteorologist Jonathan Bellis.
I'm student meteorologist Lauren Stuart.
It's going to be a cold night. Bundle up, folks, and go Knowles.